Picture this, a war, but not with tanks or jets. This was a war fought with tariffs, tweets, and trade policy. The US-China trade war exploded onto the world stage, turning boring tariffs into headline news. Jobs vanished quietly as factories powered down, sending economic shockwaves across the globe. Suddenly, the world's two biggest economies were locked in a passive-aggressive slap fight, and nobody knew the rules. This wasn't your grandpa's trade dispute, this was a fundamental shift in how the world worked. The old rules of global trade, shredded. It was like watching someone rewrite chess mid-game, insisting they invented it. Businesses built on stable supply chains found themselves in a minefield. Consumers saw prices creep up, feeling the instability in their wallets. The drama was global, the consequences real, and the end nowhere in sight. This was big, loud, and personal, led by a reality TV star president and a Chinese leader consolidating power. The world watched as the ground beneath our economic feet shifted. The tariff war was just getting started, and nobody knew where it would end. The shockwaves weren't just financial, they were psychological. The sense of instability was everywhere, and so the world braced for a new kind of conflict. Rewind to 2018, the year the trade war truly ignited. President Trump, never one for subtlety, accused China of unfair trade, intellectual property theft, and currency manipulation. He made his grievances public, loudly and often on Twitter. The US slapped tariffs on billions in Chinese goods. Steel solar panels, washing machines. The message, America first and China, play by our rules. Trump promised tariffs would protect US jobs and industries, forcing China to negotiate. China hit back fast, targeting American exports like soybeans, pork, and cars, especially from Trump-supporting states. It became a tit-for-tat escalation, each side raising the stakes with more tariffs. The global economy wobbled, stock markets shuddered with every new announcement. The WTO looked powerless, and other countries worried about collateral damage. The ripple effects spread, touching industries and nations everywhere. Suddenly, everyone was talking about tariff codes. The trade war wasn't just a US-China problem, it was a global crisis. The world's trading system was under threat, the stakes kept rising, and the end game was unclear. The conflict was no longer about trade alone, it was about power, influence, and the future of the global order. And the world was watching, nervously. As the trade war dragged on, businesses panicked. Decades-old supply chains built around China suddenly looked fragile. Companies scrambled to move production to Vietnam, Mexico, India, anywhere but China. It was messy, expensive, and slow. The Made in China label lost its security. The global manufacturing map was being redrawn. This was called decoupling or diversification. Either way, it was a logistical nightmare. Meanwhile, China doubled down. President Xi pushed for technological self-sufficiency, investing in robotics, AI, and electric vehicles. The message: if the US wants to play hardball, China will build its own tech empire. China flexed in other ways too. Military spending rose, and its geopolitical assertiveness grew. The trade war morphed into a broader strategic competition. The US had poked the dragon, and the dragon was wide awake. This wasn't just about tariffs anymore. It was about who would lead the future. Economically, technologically, and militarily. The stakes had never been higher. The trade war wasn't just numbers, it hit real people. American farmers lost China as a market overnight. Soybeans piled up, prices crashed, and livelihoods were threatened. Consumers paid more for everyday goods, fridges, sneakers, electronics, as companies passed on tariff costs. The promise of a manufacturing renaissance fizzled, some industries gained, but many lost jobs or faced higher costs. Small businesses struggled to adapt and families felt the squeeze. The trade war's impact was personal. Job security, budgets, and futures were all at risk. Decisions in Washington and Beijing rippled into homes across America. The pain was real, the uncertainty constant. For many, the trade war was more than a headline. It was a daily struggle, and the fallout was far from over. Beneath the tariffs, this was a battle for the future. The real fight? Dominance in next-gen tech, AI, 5G, quantum computing, semiconductors. The US accused China of unfair tech acquisition. China saw US restrictions as sabotage. Control over global supply chains became a new front. Would the future be US-led, China-centric, or fractured? Trump's America First clashed with Xi's Chinese dream. Two visions, neither willing to yield. It was a geopolitical chess match, not just about trade deficits. Both leaders played the long game, convinced their nation's future was at stake. The rest of the world watched, caught in the middle. The trade war was less about trade, more about power. The rules of the global economy were up for grabs, and the outcome would shape the 21st century. After all the drama, could a phone call fix it? The Phase 1 deal in 2020 felt like a ceasefire. China bought more US goods, some tariffs eased. But the core issues, tech rivalry, industrial policy, mistrust, remained unresolved. The pause was uneasy, the genie wasn't going back in the bottle. What does the US really want? What's China's endgame? The answers are murky. The saga continues, shaping the world's future. The trade war changed everything: trade, tech, and global power. As of 2025, the world still waits, breath held, for the next move. Will a phone call ever truly end it? Or is this just the beginning of a new era of rivalry? Stay tuned. The show is far from over.